I know there's a lot here, and that's, I'm going to keep saying that. That's why we're here. Jenny's here, Francine's here, I can answer questions, Ivan's there, Robin will answer questions. There's a lot to remember and a lot of little details, and if you miss one, sometimes you just are lost and you can't figure it out. So don't hesitate ever, ever, ever to call. Okay, so the only last thing I have is this final quiz, and I hope you're not too sleepy or your brains are full, or I'll open the door. It seems warm in here. It was cold earlier, now it seems a little warm. First few are kind of easy. Usernames, passwords, security. Which of these is not a valid password on here? 4, and it's O.1, and that's because it's not enough characters. All the other ones are true. What should you do if you forget your username, password, e-response keyword, or get locked out of OPTIS? Contact us, right? Probably the best person to contact would be Jenny or Ivan or myself. Any of the three of us could do it. If you want to change your password, what do you do? Right?
Change login password.
Perfect. True or false, the e-response keyword is used to access the system when you first log in. Excellent. Roles and profile maintenance. If you're the primary user, how do you view your agency's hierarchy? Anybody get that?
Provider
Easy to do.
I know. Provider, my provider details.
and then org hierarchy, maintaining
Right? And then you have to do view all if you want to see
the,
everything.
view all.
So my provider details, organization hierarchy, view all. It could be if you're not the primary, you don't see that.
Yes, yeah, that's
So that's a problem.
We do seen it.
I know. Depending on who you were at the time,
Yeah.
who you were logged in as.
It's kind of tricky.
Yeah, it is. It is. Who can add a new user to an agency's profile? Anyone, only the primary contact, or a manager user? Right, only the primary contact. If you are, who also might be a manager user, but that's the better answer. If you are the person above, so if you are the primary contact, how do you add a new user? Users,
My
They can
provider
register
details,
themselves.
right?
Maintain office information, or the office information, and then you go down to the bottom of the,
Oh, I think
No,
you're
no,
talking
no.
about how to change the primary contact. Where you go to the clear at the bottom of that screen and use the drop-down menu and choose somebody? Is that what you're talking about?
isn't that the same place where you maintain your provider information? No?
It is, but that's not where you would add a new
Oh,
user.
okay.
So you would either have them self-register.
You're right.
Oh,
They
okay.
can self-register, or the primary contact can go in and to provider registration and register them.
Exactly. And you click on users, and then there's that add a new user button. So if you are the primary contact and you want to add someone, you go to users, click on users again, and then add a user. Or you can have, like she said, have the person self-register and then you just accept them.
Yeah, it must have been that beer I had for lunch.
The next question, if the primary contact wants to make someone else primary, what steps would he or she follow? So that's the one that was really kind of hard to find.
That's where they go into the,
Right.
my
Provider details.
Exactly.
And then at the bottom of the screen, it says primary contact,
Right.
and you can select.
So it's my provider details, office
Office
information.
information.
You go all the way to the bottom and then choose the person. What status allows a user to view documents?
Use
Register.
register?
Register.
Oh, register, okay.
And then what status if they want to create documents? Have to be
Validated
valid.
for years now.
Right.
Say?
Validated for
Oh,
e-response. Who may submit a document to PTD from within OPTIS? Can anybody do that?
the person with the keyword?
Exactly. The person that we've issued the e-response keyword to.
Or primary contact, same thing, right?
Primary.
Not always. I suppose you could have a primary contact who we hadn't issued an e-response keyword to.
Well, I thought only the primary contact could have an e-response keyword in submit documents?
No.
Oh,
Anybody can if that's given to them to do.
but doesn't that make them the primary contact because they have that empowerment? It doesn't. So,
Because sometimes you want the primary contact to be the person who's going to maintain the address and add and subtract people, and that may not be the person who signs off
oh, okay.
documents.
All this time, I feel betrayed.
Well, I'm glad that came up. Did that confuse you too?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the primary contact has to do with maintaining agency information. So if you're the primary contact, you don't just see my profile, you see agency-wide information. And so you could change your agency's address and that kind of thing. But that's separate from whether you can submit a document from within the system. The only thing that keeps you from submitting it, well, first of all, you have to be validated for e-response. That has to be your status or role. But then you have to be issued an e-response keyword so that when you go to that last screen where it says complete, you can enter your e-response keyword in there and actually submit it.
So could
And that's
more than
not
one-
necessarily the primary user.
So then, could more than one person have an e-response
Yes.
keyword? Oh, see, I'm thinking only one person. Okay.
There can only be one primary user, but there can be multiple people with e-response keywords. In some agencies, one person signs off on reimbursement requests and a completely different person signs off on quarterly reports. And so each one of those people would need an e-response keyword. It just depends on the agency. And some agencies are big and some agencies are really small and you do everything. So it just depends. And I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear, but
Well,
I'm glad it came up, so now we can clear that up.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Excellent, good. Okay, what are 2 ways to view a list of all grant agreements written to your agency? What's one way?
Document search, go to all sub-grant agreements.
Right, exactly. Or you can go to the overview screen, but
Yeah.
that would only show you one biennium's worth, but that still is a good place to look. We can also, this is a bonus, we can also run a report for you if you'd like that shows you all that. How to get to the overview screen? Remember that?
Open document, view data, and then select overview.
Right. To see the overview screen, you have to go either into an agreement or a reimbursement request, and then click on, over on the left, click on view data, like she just said, and then there's overview provider, and overview central file. If you see an OPTIS batch number in the payment history but no check number, what does that tell you? Anybody get this far?
Which one?
It's on the way to being processed, but not done yet.
Right. This is 3D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3D, okay.
it's not issued, hasn't been issued yet,
Right.
but it's in the batch.
So it hasn't cleared ODOT's financial system.
Did we skip 3C?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. What are 2 ways to find all payments processed for a specific grant agreement?
Payment history, under view data.
Exactly.
What was the second one?
You open view data, payment history.
Right. But
That's
what was-
one way.
That's one way, but there were. what
Right,
it says
we hadn't
further.
got there yet.
Oh,
The
I'm
second one
sorry.
is you can go to the overview screen.
Oh, well, he said something
Did he say
else.
both?
No, I said
Well, he said
view
something
data,
that
I said payment history, then I said through view data.
Okay.
So
Oh,
you have
I
view
didn't-
data, I said it backwards.
I didn't hear the second part of what you were saying, so I thought you were giving the
Both
other
answers.
way to do it, so sorry.
Sorry.
No
Okay.
problem. You can tell it's been a long couple of days, huh? Okay, let's move right along.
So what was the second? Oh.
The overview screen.
It has been received by ODOT, but not paid yet.
Okay.
Okay, so 3E. This document number 09111234 is for a periodic report. True or false?
True.
True.
Must be false.
False. It's false. Periodic reports all start with the letters APR.
Yeah.
Oh. So what,
That's a reimbursement request, probably.
okay.
What does it mean? This is 3F. What does it mean if a reimbursement request or a periodic report has not been completed yet, but you can't open it or work on it?
Since someone else is.
Forwarded to somebody.
Excellent. Very good. can't open it if it's not in your queue. 3G, how can you tell if a document is in your queue? There's two ways.
Through workflow?
Right. Go to workflow, and the last person on that list is the person whose queue it now is in. Unless you've completed it, you know, like a reimbursement, well, that would still be true. That's true. You could also look at the words complete step or whatever they are up at the top, and if they're grayed out, that means it's not in your queue. If they're black, that means it is in your queue. And 3H is related. How do you find out who created a document? Same thing. You just check their workflow history, and then the very first person on the list would be the person who started it. Okay, then we'll move on to assets. True or false? All PTD grant-funded vehicle assets have been entered into OPTIS.
True.
Correct. But not equipment or real estate. 4B, true or false? A sign on a pole in the ground is considered a real estate asset.
True.
Right. C, PTD requires that you enter your new assets into OPTIS.
False.
False.
Right, we're going to do that for you. 4D, if your agency's vehicle asset record doesn't match the OPTIS asset record, contact Joni. True or false?
False.
False, right. Who should you contact?
Jennifer.
Jenny, exactly.
Trick question.
If you want to see the most accurate listing of all your assets, the most accurate listing, what should you do?
I'll call you.
Exactly, we can run a report for you. Eventually, you'll be able to run the report yourself, but for now, you'll have to contact us. 5, agency periodic reports. A, circle true or false. The budget detail worksheet is now obsolete.
False.
Right, you still have to use it, create it, fill it out, save it, and then attach it to the OPTIS agency periodic report. True or false, you should not use the agency periodic report in OPTIS to request reimbursement.
True.
True. There's a separate document for that. 5C, true or false, an APR with issue status is complete. False. Don't know what that was?
Typo?
What's that supposed to be?
5E, true or false, oh, sorry, 5D. To amend an agency periodic report, you should just mail us a new one.
False.
False. You need to contact us so that we can reopen it and send it back to you and you can work on it. 5E, the person entering a periodic report in OPTIS does not necessarily have to be the authorized representative. True. The total number of vehicles in service refers to PTD-funded vehicles only. False. Which one of the following must be verified before entering quarterly reporting information into OPTIS?
Asset record?
Right, your asset record has to be accurate. You can start entering your quarterly report, but you'll probably get hung up when you get to the asset page. 5H, if you have a question about how to enter an APR into OPTIS, who should you call? Right. Or Frenzy, because she's really awesome with the reports. If you have a question about what to enter into an APR in OPTIS, who should you call?
Jennifer and Francine?
No.
You, the program manager?
Program
Program
manager.
manager.
Yeah, because they really know all the details about where you get that information. All right, reimbursement requests. A, once you're trained and using OPTIS, which of the following manual documents becomes obsolete?
3.
Anybody else have a different
Two.
answer?
Two.
It's actually 2. 2 is the pre-filled reimbursement request form. Those are obsolete once you're trained in using the system. The budget detail worksheet is not obsolete.
I thought you said there was a manual budget worksheet that was obsolete, but maybe I'm just pretending.
The in-kind documentation.
There was some
One
form,
is
I guess
obsolete.
it's.
What do you do if you've completed an OPTIS reimbursement request and realize it's wrong?
Contact you and have it forwarded
Yep,
back.
call, email. You can email the reporting inbox. You can call one of us. You can email one of us individually and just ask that we reopen it and we'll revert it back to you. 6C, a reimbursement request cannot be submitted unless which of the following? The match has been entered, even if it's 0. The periodic report for the period of reimbursement is complete. The user submitting the request has an e-response keyword. All of the above or only 2 and 3? Very good. Yep. Which expense type is missing from this list? Planning, operating capital, and admin. Administrative. You're all acing this, right? Yes. Okay, true or false? The customized reimbursement request form sent to you or accessed from our website should be attached to your OPTIS reimbursement request as backup documentation for payment.
False.
False, right. That's the one that's obsolete once you're using OPTIS. You don't have to look at that again. F, the budget detail worksheet should be attached to your OPTIS reimbursement request as backup documentation for payment.
False.
False. You do have to attach it to OPTIS, but you don't attach it to the reimbursement request. You attach it to the agency periodic report. So for this little picture of a record expenses screen where it has a date of 11/15/2010, which quarter would that be? Don't forget you have that cheat sheet in the back of your binder that has all the quarters. And I actually,
Oh,
It's 6.
it's 6.
yeah, that was
Me too.
That's a big deal.
Oh, what's
That
it?
is a big
6?
deal.
Oh.
It's the second year of a biennium, so.
Yeah, and that's what she has, a little cheat sheet.
So this is in the back of your
Yes.
binder, and I actually have this tacked up on the wall in my cube because it's, you can just at a glance know which one.
The 6th quarter,
It is the 6th quarter.
Quarter,
it's
okay.
because the second quarter of the second year, so.
Right. In OPTIS, there are 8 quarters.
That's what this is.
I think we got that yesterday.
It's all making sense.
I'm so
Remind me to
glad.
let Julia put
I'm
in
so
quarters.
glad.
Quarterly?
What's that?
Awkward.
Because you guys told me.
Kidding.
Okay, sorry.
No problem, that's great. I love it when light bulbs start going off. What are 2 ways to check if you've missed any mandatory information on an OPTIS document? What's one way?
Integrity.
Integrity check, exactly. You go to actions, check integrity, and it will tell you if there's anything wrong. What's the other way?
Submit it.
Submit
Right.
it.
Go to submit it, click on complete step, and it'll tell you the same thing.
Or look for an email from your program manager.
Exactly. Okay, so then there was a reimbursement request to study, and then there's some questions based on that. Did anybody get that far?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. So what number or numbers could you use to search for this document in OPTIS?
Document number.
So 09114203, right?
Mhm.
What else?
Control number.
Right? The one down at the bottom, the control number. What else?
The agreement number?
Right, so the 30303, you could also search for it that way. So document number, ODOT agreement number, or the control number. How much money can you spend on operations under this grant?
65,000.
Right, 65,000. Have there been any previous requests made under this grant?
Yes.
No.
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 Bottom where it says to date.
2 days?
This request to date, there's been nothing requested to
It's
date.
all zero.
Right in this area right here?
Yeah.
It says 0.
Right here it says 0.
Okay. I find it interesting.
How much is Jack Sparrow expecting to get paid with this request?
$650.
Right, $650. Then there's a check integrity screen with 3 issues. What's one of the issues?
Not the right date for the reporting period.
Right, the expense date that you entered at record expense isn't within the quarter that you chose. So you chose the quarter that's from July of 9 to September of 09. And that's the quarter you chose, but the expense date is not within that. So then what would you do to fix that? Kind of a
Change the
no-brainer.
date.
Right, change either the expense date to fall within the quarter, or change the quarter to accurately reflect the period for your expense. Whichever one is right, you don't just change it to make it work. You do whatever.
It's the wrong date, wrong draw.
The next integrity check says requested amount plus match amount does not equal expense amount. So what would you do there?
Check your math.
Check your math, because for the expense amount of $1,000, if the match ratio is 65-35, the local match should be 350, and it wasn't. So the solution would be to enter the correct match, or reduce the total expense amount at the record expense screen. If you only have $300 of match, then you have to lower your expenses to make that work out. And yes, doing math is required. And the last one says missing providers periodic report 0911 quarter 1. So,
You have to complete that report before you can.
Submit it.
right,
submit
because
it.
you are requesting reimbursement for that quarter, and if that quarter's report is not on file, you can't. Unless it's a what kind of request? If it's a capital
Capital.
purchase,
Yeah.
then you can contact us and we'll push it through for you.
Oh,
The only time we will override the error message about not having a report in is if it's a capital purchase, because we want to get you paid, and preventive maintenance. We talked about that earlier.
yeah.
So yay, everybody got a
A C plus.
C plus. That's passing, that's all you care about, right?
Yes.
I'm surprised that we remembered as much as we did. But
I think you guys did really well. Yeah, you did really well. And I know there's a lot of repetition, and that's a good way to get it in your brain.
Yeah.
Hopefully it wasn't too much. Just a few more really quick things. I hate it when people say that and then go on for an hour, but I'm going to try not to. I wanted to just show you one quick thing about the help feature in OPTIS. I showed you it the first day, I think. Oh, I got to record this. Hold on. Where'd it go? When it timed out, did it?
Do open snag it? The Bolton?
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay. There's this help for OPTIS icon, which I showed you earlier. One thing I didn't show you is once you open this, there's, hopefully some helpful information in there, but there's also an online manual that's a live link that you can click on. And there are topics that you can look up in here.
Oh, good.
General hints and tips. This is rather rough, and one of Jenny's new assignments is to go in and make this accurate and make sure that there's actually a help feature on every page, and that it would be all kind of self-inclusive where you maybe wouldn't even need a binder anymore, but that's how you would get to it. So you just open any help icon here, and then once it's open on the bottom right, there's this online manual link that you can click.
Binders are nice because it's nice to have a screen up in front of you and then a binder on the side to go with it.
That's true.
Because if you have, it's
That's
hard to
toggle
have
back and forth.
both, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
You have
good
two
point.
separate windows up, it's hard to kind of go back and forth between the two of them.
That's a very good point. And me personally, I like the visual of
Yeah.
Unless you have two separate computer screens, we could have one up on the
Yeah.
other side.
Dual screen.
Dual
Yeah.
screen would be great. Awesome. Okay. I wanted to show you real quickly, how do you know if you're in production or training? Because some people think they're logged into one and they're not. When you're in production, like I am here, it says prod,
No.
P-R-O-D. If you're in training, it says train. So it could be confusing right off the bat if you're still maybe spending some time in training, practicing and stuff, and then you want to go do it for real. And sometimes you have them both open at the same time. You're not sure where you are. But even if you go into prod and do something, we can fix it, so no problem. I gave you your production logins. Oh, and we do have an OPTIS page, if you don't know, on our website.
Yeah.
It says OPTIS. Also needs some work. Someone gave me a really great suggestion that like right here when you first open it would be a big button that says OPTIS production. And you could just click on it
Yeah.
and then you'd be taken right there. Otherwise you have to go all the way down here. And there's the OPTIS production site, and that's OPTIS Live, and then there's the training one. So
Yeah.
I think what I do is put this OPTIS training site one up here under training, and then we'll put the OPTIS Live one up here and have a nice
Yeah.
big. So great suggestion.
I'm up for that.
Okay, so to get into production, you can go to our website, and if you can find it, it's right here, OPTIS Live. And you get this screen, which is required by ODOT, and this is the ODOT logo right here. There's several things you have to go through to get through ODOT security, because we're allowing non-ODOT employees to access an ODOT-owned server. OPTIS is out there on the web for anybody, really. It's not, but this is, you're going into ODOT, and so we had to get it on our own server, which is much faster. We had to go through this. So when you get to this screen, you say continue with limited functionality. You might be asked to add on this whale communications, and there's a section in your binder. Should be towards the very beginning. Getting started. That explains all that. So it's page 7 on
Okay.
section 2. If you are asked, it depends on your computer back at your office whether you'll be asked to install that or not, and that walks you through it. But you continue with limited functionality. Then you get to this other screen, and you just have to go all the way down here to the bottom left, and there's OPTIS. And you click on that, and it brings you to the production login screen. And then you just go from there like you have been.
You should get a button, like your cool O button on that last page too, right next to the OPTIS part.
Very good. And then down in small print, I can say designed by my legal.
So does it
Call
ask you to
513.
place your fingerprints on the monitor when you go in for that security pass?
No. No blood, no
Turn sideways
fingerprints.
for a profile shot.
Okay, use the binder. If you find any mistakes in any of it, let me know. If you, as you're using production, see things that don't make sense or just helpful suggestions. I mean, we're still taking those, and I've taken the few that we've gotten over the past couple days, and I'll take those back to. I love the idea of the website, improving that a little bit. The budget detail worksheet instructions, did I mention that when we were being recorded? Let me just show you really quick. That's also on our website. So you go to reporting and forms, and you have to scroll down. Instructions for the budget detail worksheet.
Okay.
But I will also bring the suggestion back to everyone that it'd be good to have a session of a class sometime to go over this and explain more, thoroughly.
And you said you'd email us what you didn't give us.